Welcome to Mad About Money. I'm Maddie Alexander-Grout, and this is the show that is Mad About Money. I'm here with Helen Hamston, who is the founder of Mummy's Gin Fund, which is just one of the most extraordinary places to be on the planet. I've been a member for a long time, actually, both as a parent and as a business owner. So I've been dying to hear Helen's amazing, impressive story for a while. So, Helen, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, wow, thank you. I feel the pressure now. So I am Helen. I run Mummy's Gym Fund, as you said. I like to call myself the kind of accidental entrepreneur. I set up Mummy's Gym Fund with zero intention whatsoever of it really being anything other than a buying and selling and swapping group for baby clothes. And somehow, I don't really know how, it became like an absolute machine. Yeah, so I run Mummy's Gym Fund. That's only part-time. I also work part-time. So I work as a sign
Ooh,
language interpreter.
I did know that.
Yes, so I am bilingual in sign language and English sometimes. And yes, I work as a freelance sign language interpreter. I also run a holiday let, so that's another source of income there. And I live in Devon with my husband and our 4 children.
Amazing. I've seen your holiday let popping up, and I think that looks really beautiful. And at some point, I aspire to go there.
Yeah, come and visit
Uh,
us. It's gorgeous.
yeah. So Helen, you've had a really, really interesting journey, and this accidental entrepreneur thing, I can really relate to this because with my old business, that was exactly what happened with me. I just thought, I want to save parents some money, and then it was just born, and it was that kind of like, oh, you have to learn on your route, and we're not necessarily born business people, but we're bloody good at it, right? So how did it all start?
Well, do you know what's really interesting about Mommy's Gym Fund is I think from the outside, it looks like a real success story. And from anybody looking in, I've got beautiful graphics, I've got a really cool logo, I've done these amazing things. We've been on TV, we've been in the newspapers, we've been in the magazines. Um, but I would say I'm probably one of the least successful entrepreneurs I've ever met from a financial point of view and probably from a healthy way of running a business point of view. So I am
Yeah.
still very much learning how to run a healthy business. So yes, I've been running a business, and actually this week is the 10-year anniversary of the start of Mummy's Gym Fund.
Wow, that's
Yay, 10
amazing.
years. 10 years. And to say it's been a roller coaster is a slight understatement. And it always makes me
Yeah.
laugh when people ask me about running a successful business, because I just think if only you knew, especially how ironic it is that we're talking about money, because it's only really in the last probably year that I have been really willing to accept money into my business. So
Okay.
before then, what's really interesting is as Mummy's Gym Fund grew and it became, so for those of you that don't know, Mummy's Gym Fund started off as a buying and selling group on Facebook 10 years ago when buying and selling groups didn't really exist. It
No,
seems mad. It seems mad to
it
imagine.
does.
But back in the day, basically my cousins were in a Facebook group in Devon, and it would pop up on my Facebook feed all the time. And I searched for one in Lewisham in London, where I was living at the time, and there wasn't one. So I set up a buying and selling group on Facebook, and that was literally my only intention. Was I'd had 2 girls, just had a boy, I wanted some cheap clothes. And it started off like that, and it grew, and it became absolutely like the speed of growth and the speed of which it turned into this um I don't want to say monster, but it was very much a two-sided beast for
A
me.
beast.
A
Yeah.
beast. It was a very much a two-sided thing for me. So on one hand, it was incredible. It was exciting. It was the adrenaline, it was brilliant. And I met the most incredible people, and we did the most amazing things. On the other hand, what happened was it became all consuming,
Mm,
and it consumed the entirety of my brain, body, and soul. And I was on maternity leave. I just had a baby. I was a sign language interpreter that had 3 kids under 5. I didn't know how to do any of this. Nobody knew how to do any of this stuff because Facebook was
no.
still relatively new. So it just became instead of a place that was supposed to be helping me, it actually became my downfall. And I was, instead of using it as this amazing, wonderful vehicle for making money or as a business, it just became something for me to beat myself up with. And ultimately, what happened was, as money was coming into the business, I was giving it away and I was repelling it as quickly as I could. So I was working 30 hours a week on Mummy's Gym Fund. I was interpreting for, I don't know, maybe 20 hours a week. I had 3 kids under 5. And then eventually I became pregnant again. So then I had 4 kids. So I was pregnant and I was working, and I was working in the middle of the night, and I was working all through the day. And I remember sitting up. It's very, very unhealthy. This is what I mean about, like, be careful when you look at other people's businesses from the outside and you think, oh my God, they're smashing it. Just be careful, because I remember there was a day when we went absolutely viral, mentally viral. And it was called Be Like Pip. Do you remember Be Like Pip?
Yeah.
So there was this guy who worked on the tube station, and he was on the Northern Line at London Bridge, and he was known for helping pregnant women. And
Okay.
I posted about him, and it went absolutely viral. I mean, properly viral. We were trending on the BBC website.
Oh, wow.
They were talking about us on the news. Like, he won an award. Like, it was bonkers. But I was pregnant and I was sitting up at 2 o'clock in the morning, vomiting into a bucket, trying to keep up with the admin. And it
Oh,
was
bless
just
you.
like, it
Yeah.
was bonkers. But yeah, I just had it was a really weird situation, because I know we're talking about money. So every time money came into the biz, I was like, this is ridiculous and I need to start monetizing what's happening, because I was getting like millions of views on posts, and Facebook lives I was doing was like 20,000 views, and
Wow.
I was like, right, I need to start to monetize this. As the money came in, I just pushed it away. So I had big brands come up to me and say, we want to do like a takeover day, and they give me £2,500 to do a takeover day. Brilliant. I'd do like 40 hours work for that money probably.
Yeah.
And then I'd get the money and I'd give it away, because I couldn't, I don't know. Yeah. So
So there must
yeah,
have been
so
like a money block or
there was,
something
yeah, I think
where
it
you
was
didn't feel
because,
you deserved it, but actually
yeah,
you worked bloody hard for that and you really did deserve it. Do you have regrets about that time?
um, I I think what happened was, I think I had untreated postnatal depression,
Yeah.
which was making me feel um, very unworthy of anything,
Mm,
really. God, postnatal depression beat me up big
yeah.
time, beat me up with 3 out of 4 of the kids. So there's definitely an element of that. And I think what happened was, because Mummy's Gym Fund morphed into this kind of huge support network,
Yeah.
as a massive empath, I took on everybody
Took it all
else's
on.
pain, took it all on. So
Mm,
rather than it being an outlet for me and to help cure some of my postnatal, I had PTSD as well after the birth of my second daughter. So instead of using it as a vehicle to help and support me, I just felt responsible for everybody's stuff.
I
Everybody,
totally get what you, yeah. I
everybody's stuff. Yeah. So
because
within,
yeah, no,
oh, go on.
I don't know if you know, but before I started my old business, which we do not name for legal reasons,
Yeah.
it all came from my parenting forum that I set up. So I set this parenting forum up thinking, because I had postpartum psychosis and nobody understood, and nobody really wanted to talk about it, because who wants to talk about killing children, and it's
Oh,
horrible.
my friend said
Um
that was horrific.
it
Yeah.
is the worst thing I've ever been
Horrific.
through. Horrible.
Horrific.
But so I set this parenting forum up for support, and it grew really fast. And now, like years on, I mean, it's not nearly as big as Mummy's Gym Fund, but that's because I decided from that point, when it got to about 7,500 people, I went, I don't want to grow this anymore. I can't cope with it being this size, let alone any other size. And that was when I thought, do you know what, I'll move it into an app. And that's when I created Parenthood. But people like the group too much. They were like, we like it here. We don't want to go anywhere else. And I'm like, oh man, alive. I've just spent 10 grand on an app that nobody wants to use. Like, I was just like, this is just awful. The idea was great behind it. But yeah, but the empath thing, like I created it because I needed the outlet, same as you. But I think now that my kids are older, I don't need that outlet so much. And I know that because I've evolved as a person, and actually I have no interest in doing anything parenting related anymore. Mine was always like I grew a group where I could share my money stuff because it was all about helping parents to save money, which I'm still doing now, which is great. So I guess it's evolved in that way. But for you, as your children have grown up, you've kept with doing the same thing. Have you ever thought like my kids are growing up now, do I need this anymore, or is it
So
just
it was interesting because at the time I think I was so, when it started, I had 4 kids under at 9. So I was living weaning, my baby won't take a bottle, my baby won't sleep through the night, my baby, so I think I was so embroiled and so passionate and so obsessive about the content and needing that content.
Yeah.
And I think because my second daughter was born premature, so she was in intensive care on a life support machine for quite a long time.
Oh,
So I was like out in the world not being pregnant and without my baby. So I spent a lot of time standing in parks, just like looking at other people with pushchairs, just thinking, oh my God, I really want to run up to you and tell you that I've got a baby and she's in intensive care and I just need to tell
that's
somebody.
so hard.
I know, but I didn't have anyone to tell. So I think a lot of my motivation was around, I don't want anybody else to ever feel how I felt then, but I did that without ever healing my own pain. So my pain of that, I mean, she's 13 now, but the pain of that motivated me. And I think if you're motivated by pain, that's never really going to be a very healthy way to work, because like I enjoyed the pain of working at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was hurting myself, but it was almost like a form of self-harm, like running Mummy's Gym Fund back in that time. Was self-harm.
I mean, Helen, I'm gonna, I don't think you need to go down the diagnosis route. I'm diagnosing you now. You have ADHD.
Yeah, let's just all
feel like
agree
that's your formal diagnosis.
Thanks. My
now get on with
diagnosis
your
is
life.
done now. Brilliant, thank you. Yes, Maddie and I were just talking before we started recording that I am like 100% convinced that I've got ADHD. It makes like a massive, huge amount of sense. But yeah, so my business was run through pain, and that was not really a very healthy way to run a business. So then basically, sorry, I could talk about this for hours, but anyway, basically what happened was it all came to a massive head and I had a breakdown. First of all, I had burnout, and then I had a full-on breakdown. I'm talking about like my husband had to dress me. He had to feed me with a spoon. He had to lift me out of the bed and put me kicking and screaming like a toddler into the car and drive me to look at the sea as a way to try to just get me to function in some way.
I like that. Not that you got to that state, but I like the sea thing. I think that would be what my husband would do for me, I think, as well.
Yes. So hallelujah for Mr. Gin is all I can say, because flipping heck, I mean, he really did save my life. But yeah, so he kind of looked after me, and I took a break. I took a 2-year break from Mummy's Gym Fund. And that was really interesting.
Because I didn't notice.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was just about to say. Nobody noticed. I didn't log into Mummy's Gym Fund for over a year. I did not log into that group, and nobody noticed. So that was really interesting. And that was the big turning point for me.
Yeah.
Because I realized, number one, I've created something much bigger than me as an individual. Like when I was running it and when I was deep in the mod and deep in the, thinking, oh my God, I genuinely thought that if I didn't turn up every day for like 4 hours a day, then the entire thing would implode and it would disappear overnight.
Oh my God. I feel that. Oh.
Yes, I didn't log in for over a year and nobody noticed. And then about 18 months later, like after about 18 months, I started just kind of dipping my toe. And I'd sort of do this odd post, and everyone just was like, oh, hi, Helen.
No, nobody was like, you've not been here for a while.
No.
And that's
Like,
weird. And do you know what? I think launching a social media app, which is what Mad About Money is, I I was absolutely crapping my pants right about launching because I had like 200 people in the waiting room waiting to come in, and somebody emailed me saying, we're getting notifications anytime you post anything, we're getting notifications, but we're not in there, so we can't see it, and that's really annoying. And I went, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god,
yeah.
panicked, and I let people in 4 days early. So my launch date was last Thursday, and I started letting people in on Monday, and it took the pressure off. And I went, oh my God, I've been putting so much pressure on myself to launch in this specific way. And
Yeah.
actually, it was like, oh, brilliant. And now I think because of that happening, I like, I think old Maddie would have been sat there, like literally staring at it, waiting for people to post, waiting for people to comment. And if they didn't, me feeling like it was my fault and that I was rejected. And it was all like, oh, Maddie's so awful because no one's doing anything. Um, so this over the weekend, I didn't log in, didn't do anything. Looked on Monday, loads of people posting. I'm like, this is brilliant. This is really great. I have been doing, getting on with my day like I normally would in my normal business stuff. I went and did the NatWest Accelerator this morning, logged in, 4 or 5 people posting. I'm like, this is good. I don't have to be here 24/7. I can do my same social media strategy that I do with all of my other social media platforms, where I post first thing in the morning and then I don't check again until the afternoon. And it's working. And I'm like, oh my God, I've created a business where I don't have to be there all the time. This is so good.
But isn't that the sign of a successful foundation, though? And that was the thing
Hopefully.
with Mummy's Gin Fund. Is like,
Yeah.
I was like, hold on a minute, because when I was in the peak of Gin Fund season, when it was, people would stop me in the supermarket and ask for a selfie. People would ask me,
Love
they'd
it.
come up to me in the park and ask me to sign things. They would come up to my kids
Ooh.
in school and go, oh my God, is your mum from Mummy's Gin Fund? Like, I had like this kind of celebrity status. It was madness. I
Yeah.
was selling out events. Like the day that I launched an event, it would sell out. I sold merchandise, for goodness sake.
I
I
read
had
that.
Mummy's Gin Fund merch that
Do you not
sold
do that anymore? Because I
out.
would love a
No,
Mummy's Gin
that
Fund top.
sold out. In fact, I'm just thinking, oh look, I've got one. Oh, conveniently, I have one right here. I have Gin Fund
Love it.
merch. But yet again, let me tell you a
Is that a
story.
bum bag?
It's like a makeup pouch or a nappy
Could
pouch
you
or
make a
whatever you want
bum
to put
bag?
there.
Because I'd totally buy
Oh
one.
my God, I'm obsessed with bum bags.
I
There's
just think they're brilliant. They're really good for keeping your money like safe when you're out and about in gigs and stuff.
there's an
So
amazing
lame.
company. There's an amazing company on Instagram called Zilla Kids, Zilla Kids.
Okay.
They do the most incredible jumpers, t-shirts, whatever, but they also do bomb bags to die for. So if you want, this is my top tip. If you want a bomb bag, Zilla Kids.
Where's my bum bag? I'm going to see if I can find it now.
Oh my God, I love a bomb bag. But yeah, so I was
Oh,
doing
lovely.
merch and it was all like
This is
absolutely
this is my
completely
bum bag.
bonkers.
So obviously it's a rainbow bum bag.
Oh my God. See, who doesn't want a
Isn't that the
rainbow bomb
best?
bag?
This
Who
is my
go to,
like I'm going to
you
festivals.
will.
I
Can I
want to
just
get drunk and not
apologize?
fall over, and like this is my like Maddie's gin bum bag,
Yes.
where basically I drink too much gin and I think I don't want to lose my money, so I keep it in here.
I'm wondering now if Zilla Kids might be a bad thing for you because you are going to want to buy every single thing on that website. I promise you.
Yeah, my spending addiction doesn't like you
It's like,
anymore.
yes, maybe just maybe you can't have a look. Maybe just stay away. Just put a block on your
I'll have a look. No, no, no. Yeah, well, no.
website.
The thing is, I can go and have a look, and I'll do my thing that I do, which is
Okay.
I go and I spend millions of pounds putting it all in my basket, and then I just walk away because
Do that.
that's my dopamine hit. My dopamine hit is going and searching for these really lovely things, and then going nope, walking away. It's
Put it on your Christmas list. There
I
we
put it on
go.
my Christmas. My Amazon list is longer than like I think it's long. It's longer than the Magna Carta. I think actually it's really, really, really long.
Yeah, just
And
ask for the Christmas. Say, please, can I have a Zilla Kids bum bag?
okay, I am gonna go and have a look. And if
Seriously.
I buy one, then I'll tell them to give you some commission
Yeah,
because good
I
sales
should get an affiliate
sales
link.
tactic.
Affiliate link. Hashtag ad Zilla Kids. Anyway, I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, just about the fact that the adrenaline of when Gin Fund was
Yeah.
like kicking off, the adrenaline was amazing. Like I don't want anyone listening to this thinking like I had this awful time, because I didn't. It was amazing and I loved it. And the adrenaline. And we made a genuine difference to people's lives. Like, I can hand
Yeah,
on heart say that I know for a fact that Mommy's Gin Fund, the community, changed people's lives. And I know that for a
absolutely.
fact. And people tell me that often. I'm very, very lucky that people message me quite often telling me what an impact Mommy's Gin Fund had on them. So I wasn't having an awful time. I was loving it, but I just wasn't doing it very healthily. Then I took
Mm,
the break, and now I've gone back with like just that emotional disconnect, not a disconnect, but that obsessive, compulsive,
yeah,
like, I can't breathe unless I'm, on Mummy's Gym. And that, taking the weight of other people's lives, I'm now so much better at. And as a result, it's a lot healthier for me, which makes it a
yeah,
lot more sustainable. And I don't think it's made any difference to the community. I don't think it's made any difference to the work that we're able to do.
no,
I don't think anybody else would really notice. But behind the scenes, I am so much healthier. And on the subject of money, what that means is I've lost, or I've done a lot of work to lose that refusal of accepting money into my business
yes,
through Mummy's
yeah,
Gin
yeah.
Fund, because I was like, I shouldn't get paid for this. I don't deserve it. It was never like, I'm not doing enough work to deserve this. It
Mm,
was like, this is my moral duty. This is my obligation. There was some kind of dirtiness, some kind of like, I don't like
yeah,
you giving me money for this, so I'm just going to give it all away. Like, Mum's Aid in Blackheath, which is like a counselling service, they absolutely bloody loved me, because every time I got any money, I was like, take it, take this money, please go and help some people with it. Whereas now I've got a much healthier relationship, and I understand completely about um, the money that I make through Mummy's Gin Fund now enables me to do the fantastic stuff that Mummy's Gin Fund
absolutely.
does. So it's
Yeah.
all about sustainability, and the options are either I learn how to make money from Mummy's Gin Fund so it can keep going, or
Mm,
I stop doing it. So that
yes.
shift in mindset has
Yeah.
really, all of the free stuff, and I still do a huge amount of free stuff for Mummy's Gin Fund,
Mm,
but that is possible because I also get paid for doing things for Mummy's Gin Fund. So it's, like the circle of life, isn't it?
it is, and it's like people. I've had people on my podcast before who have got spending addictions or saving addictions. It's money has to flow, and there has to be an exchange. So there's an exchange of value. There's an exchange of money in terms of what value you're getting from it. But there's also the fact that like I I could never spend any money ever again, because of the fact that I've changed all of my spending habits to make sure that my spending addiction doesn't get back to me. However, I've got my fun binder, which has got like money that I make from selling stuff. So I know that money, I can spend that on whatever the hell I want to spend it on because I've made that money for that purpose, right? So
Gold bond bags, for example.
exactly. And I know that is very, very useful. Like, I bought these shoes. I mean, they're a bit dirty now, but they are really beautiful.
They're
I bought
amazing.
these shoes, and that was the first purchase I'd made in a really long time where I didn't actually leave. I didn't leave it in my bum. I didn't leave it in my bum. I didn't leave it in my basket for 48 hours like I normally would with a purchase. I just went and bought it, and I know that that's because I wanted it that badly. But I've worn them every single day since, so therefore,
Yeah,
like I've got this rule where like stuff halves in value. So like
yeah,
eventually, the more you wear it, it becomes free. And that is, it's a healthy mindset to have because if I didn't ever spend any money on myself, then I wouldn't be rewarding myself for the things that I'm doing. You've got to set goals and have these things in your life to be able to move forward. And but it is about understanding when you've got problems and money blocks, no matter how they come, your money block, clearly there was something there that was making you feel like you weren't valuable enough. And actually I've had a lot of work, but I've been working with a money coach called Kim Uzel, who has been unblocking my blocks. And I realized that actually my spending addiction wasn't because I was bad with money. It was because I had some trauma from my early life that actually did followed me through. Um, Money problems generally are not to do with the fact that whether you're good with money or bad with money. There's normally an underlying thing there, which is making you feel like you don't deserve that. So how did you overcome that? Was it just a thing that happened over time, or did you really have to switch your mindset on it?
I do you know what? The first thing that happened was I saw this quote on an Instagram feed. And I wish I could credit the person who said this, but I don't know who it was. But if anybody does know,
Mm,
please shout this person's name, because this person completely changed my life. And this
amazing.
quote is, it's a very famous quote, and it's something, I don't know the exact words, but it's something like, you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. So you are
Ooh.
not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And that, I was in the pits
Mm.
of depression, I was in the pits of breakdown, the pits of burnout, and it just stopped me scrolling. And I just went, what? Like,
Mm.
I'd read all the books, I'd listened to the podcasts, I'd had all, blah, blah, blah. And that stopped me. And it was my screensaver for probably about 2 years. And I still have it. It's written on my wall, and it's like I look up at it all the time. And just that was like, actually, yes, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to. And not only that, it's damaging me, it's damaging my children, it's damaging my marriage. It's incredibly, incredibly unhealthy. So there was a series of lots of little things. So I started running my gin fund business club, which is how I get the majority of my income now, through Mommy's Gin Fund. And we have an amazing mindset coach there called Claire Flaxon, who is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant, around confidence, procrastination, blah, 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 but around mindset in particular. So if you're not following her, go and follow Claire Flaxon, Claire without an I, Flaxon. She's amazing. And she was running masterclasses for me in the membership, but I was like the number one student taking notes. So there were lots of things that she said that just started to resonate. And then I started listening to people like Shah Wasmond, for example, or
Mm.
other kind of, like, I don't resonate with these big, like, six-figure coaches who are all like, go and get 6 figures every week and it's going to be amazing, and you're going to change your life, and look at me on a yacht. I'm not into that at all. But I
No,
listened to a lot of women in particular who were saying, actually, the more you earn, the more you can help.
the more good you can
And
do. Exactly.
exactly. And that was the messaging that I needed. That was the mindset shift that I
Mm.
needed, because I was just like, I'm just going to help until I drop. That was all I wanted to do, was just make life better for other people. Because I'd had this big traumatic experience of my daughter being on a life support machine and blah, 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 blah. I was like, my mission in life is to help people. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to give everything. Whereas actually that's not really helpful at all, because all they get is like this little burnt crisp of me.
Mm.
Just like this little crisp going, I'll help. But actually I can't help, because I'm not at my best, healthiest self. So just started this little trickle of like, the more money you earn, the more money you make, the more money you keep, the healthier you become, the less you have to worry about your own finances, the better your life becomes, and therefore the better and stronger you are to dedicate time and energy to helping other people. Once
Yeah,
your own house is in order, then you can go and sort out other people's houses.
absolutely that.
And also, the more money you earn, the more money you've got to give away. Like if you're earning like
Mm.
200 quid a month, I was earning 200 quid, giving away 200 quid. If I earn, £20,000, then I can give away £10,000 or £5,000
Yeah.
or £2,000 or, whatever. So just that kind of, I needed to find a way that earning more money and making more money felt morally right to me. And
Yes.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
know the morals around money are so outrageously wrong for most of us. And I know the weight we put on the morality of us earning money is like, I mean, you could talk about that for days. But
You
for
couldn't,
me,
and that's the whole reason why I set up Mad About Money, was the fact
yes,
that I wanted there to be a safe space where people could talk about money, whether it's saving it or getting out of debt. People who are in debt feel like it's so shameful, it's horrible.
yes,
Why? Money is just this thing that you swap between people for stuff. It
yes,
shouldn't be horror, like it shouldn't be shameful to earn loads of money. It shouldn't be shameful to be in debt. It shouldn't be shameful to want to spend it if you've got it. All of those things are things that we tackle within the app. It's that
Yeah, I think
mindset piece.
that was for me, it was the shame of earning money for Mommy's Gym Fund,
Mm.
because, and it all stems from one comment where I was running Mommy's Gym Fund. I was doing everything for free. I mean, I was doing, sometimes 50, 60 hours a week for free,
Mm.
events for free. I set up a pamper tent at a festival where I paid people to come and give massages for
Oh,
free to other
oh,
moms because I wanted them to
oh,
have those free massages,
yeah.
right? But I felt, and then, so I'd done all this stuff. And then there was this one comment in the Facebook group when I started charging for businesses to advertise in the group, because before they'd always been able to do it for free. And I was getting every week, I was getting messages, oh, Helen, I advertised in Mommy's Gym Fund and I got so much money that I've been able to leave my job and now I'm self-employed. Oh,
Wow, that's
Helen,
amazing.
every week, 2 or 3 times a week, I'd get a message, Helen, I advertised in Mommy's Gym Fund and now I've had to recruit 5 staff to cope with demand. And I was getting these messages every week. And
That's
yet
so
for me
good.
personally, I was living in debt and I was taking on overtime as a sign language interpreter to pay for the web hosting and the advertising that was getting these other people all of this
Mm.
money. So I was like, this is bonkers. Businesses need to pay me a small amount. And at the time, can you believe, I wanted to charge something like £5 a month or something stupid like
Crikey.
that. I know.
The
But
value
anyway,
is so
I know
there.
it was
Like, yeah.
ridiculous. Honestly, it was ridiculous. But I wanted to charge this ridiculous amount. And one person came into the group and said, I think it's absolutely outrageous that you're charging for something which is free on Facebook. Because to them, Facebook was free, the group was free to be in, so I had no right to charge for it. And
I had that a lot.
I was getting at that point probably 50 messages a week about how much Mommy's Gym Fund was changing people's lives and improving their lives and literally saving their lives.
Mm.
And I had one comment that said, it's outrageous that you're charging for something that's free. And that was that. Sent me into a spiral for like 5 years.
That's because you've got ADHD and that's
That's
rejection
because I've got
sensitivity
ADHD.
dysphoria.
Yeah, that's because I've got ADHD. Do you reckon I can just put that on my CV now? Or do you reckon
Yes,
can I just say I've
yes,
got
I do.
ADHD?
Yes. And I think be loud and proud about it. We've got different brains and we deal with things in a different way to other people.
Yeah,
And you know what? This is the thing. I think I had so many setbacks and I have had so many. As soon as somebody tells me that the Mad About Money app is shit, I'm going to go and cry for about a week.
yeah,
Because I've put so much work into it. And like
yeah,
our brains don't work in the same way as other people's.
yeah,
Yesterday, somebody said to me that they couldn't log in and that it was doing something funny tech wise. And I was like, it's not my fault. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
honestly, when you put your heart and soul into something and then somebody says something wrong, we're not particularly great with it. Even if it's constructive criticism, we're not that great with it.
no.
Um, but the more you learn to
Because we're
understand
so
your brain,
heart-led, that's why. So
we are.
I am like 99.9% heart and like 0.1% head. So
Yeah,
any kind of criticism goes to the heart, not the head. So I think
yeah,
that's why it's
absolutely.
hard.
Absolutely. So, what's next for
But
Helen
yes,
then?
so
Yeah,
what's next for me?
yeah.
Well, I'm so because I've found this way of earning money that feels good to me, in
Mm,
that I earn money by helping other people to make more money. A bit like you.
yes.
So
Yeah,
very much like you. So I earn money now. The majority of my income comes through the Gin Fund Business Club, which is a small
yeah,
business membership.
yeah.
So I feel no guilt, no shame about charging for that, because I know that the members of that membership are making way more money than they're paying me and are growing their
Absolutely.
businesses as a direct result of the help that I'm giving them. So I have no problem doing that. So what's really good about that is that now that's giving me a bit of breathing space. I intend to go back to Mommy's Gin Fund and go back to the root of what I loved doing, which was supporting and helping moms and dads in that early first 10 years of parenthood.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be running some more events for Mommy's Gym Fund, which is
Yay.
I've come full circle. I'm cured and I'm back, and I'm not cured at all, but I am back. So I'm going to be running some events for them. I'm going to be growing the Gym Fund Business Club, and I am going to be teaching people how to grow their businesses with heart and how to run a business that doesn't cause them to have a breakdown or burnout, and that feels right for them. So loads more businessy kind of stuff, you know, how to grow Facebook groups, how to show your personality, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's exciting because it's without guilt and without self-hatred, which I'd certainly had before. But now it's heart-led but sensible.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on, and thank you so much for being so honest about your story, because it isn't easy to talk about money, especially when you're in that mindset. So I think that's going to be super helpful for all of our viewers. If anybody is watching this in the Mad About Money app, you are in the right place. If you're not watching it in the Mad About Money app and you've seen it on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere else, you need to go and download the Mad About Money app. It's all about helping consumers and business owners to spend less and make more money. We've had a wonderful time with you, Helen, today, but sadly it's time for us to leave. I'm Maddie Alexander-Grout. This has been Mad About Money, and we will see you next time.